Hopefully this is working this time. Hopefully this should be working this time. Can you hear me, Stephen? I can hear sound now. That is brilliant. Sorry about that, everybody. It's the software that I'm using. It's the OBS software. I think it needs updating, to be honest. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for joining. It's been a long time since the last stream. How is everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Thank you, everybody. I've just noticed that it was the last one I'd done was called Valentine's Day, so that is how long ago it was. So who we got in here? We've got Stephen from Peckham. Great to have you in here, Stephen. We've got William Bailey. Always great to have you in here, William. We've got Jan. Is that how I pronounce your name? Is it pronounced as Jan? Great to have you here. We've got Sheena. Is that Sheena? Hey, I hear you. Up and down. Inserter is a inserter. Boss, you had a problem setting. Hope you're all well. Yeah, there was some difficulties earlier, but it seems to be okay now. I hope all of you are all right. As good as you can be. I know that it is a struggle. It's a struggle in the world right now, especially if you've got some challenges in your relationship life as well. So please feel free to get anything off your chest that you want to say, anything that could help. It's great to be back doing a live stream. So Inserter is going through a battle with his wife. I'm very sorry to hear that, Inserter. I know that was on the cards, but I'm very sorry to hear that. She wants the lot. Just try to stay as positive as you can through this difficult time. Stephen said, my girlfriend and I have been arguing a lot for some time now. Her phone got broken. We never spoke or met for almost a month. I felt it was over, and all of a sudden she comes back crying. I want to move on. So you want to move on, Stephen, or she is saying she wants to move on? Because if you want to move on, then at least you are in the better position, you might say. How do I pronounce your name? I went Indible or something like that. Indible. My ex said a week after the breakup that she needs space to see if she loves me or if she is in love with me. But we still talked and hung out after that. No time and space was taken. But then we just then eventually stopped talking. After a while, I need to let her go. Will no contact even work? So from what you've said, it sounds to me like there's probably a sexual polarity issue in your relationship. If she's debating whether she loves you or is in love with you, that would be a sexual polarity issue. So no contact would work in the way that it would still intrigue your ex to some degree, but the problem is that if the sexual polarity scale isn't aligned, then it's never going to marry up correctly, I'm afraid to say. Sheena is trying so hard to stay strong. That's all we can do. All we can do is our best. All we can do is try our hardest. And if you're doing your best, that is all you can do. And Sotra said, boss, is there any chance of her coming back even after a divorce? There is always a chance. You really never know when the story ends. But you've just got to live in the moment. And in the moment, unfortunately, she does not want to be part of your life. And you still need to live your life, Inserter. Ind, as I'll call him, it was long distance for a year, but now she's in my state and we're broken up. Oh, that is typical. I'm so sorry to hear that. William has said, can an ex have a subconscious attachment that makes them unblock you on a constant basis for a long period after a breakup? Your ex has been doing that for a very long time. It's bizarre how she has maintained doing this throughout this length of time. That is not usual behaviour for as long as she has been doing it. She's clearly got some attachment to you, to basically keep spying on you, you might say, and then she goes off and then she comes back, but that's not congruent with what you want, and that's what you need to be thinking of right now. Inda said we were very compatible sexually, though just due to COVID we were only able to meet 4 to 5 times through the year. Yeah, sorry, when I say sexual polarity, it's not just about kind of the sexual act side of it. It means basically masculine and feminine energy and how people see one another. And not being able to see each other regularly is definitely going to affect that. Thank you, Sheena, for the hearts. William has said, yes, I know. She unblocked me for almost a week this last time. It's crazy what's going on with you. Absolutely crazy. And Sertra said, so good to hear you on a live stream. I miss you loads. Oh, thank you, and Sertra. I've missed you. I had to stop live streaming because I was burning myself out. Basically, I'll tell you guys now, since you're here. I'm working on a course. I'm currently working on a course. And it's been taking me months to do. And I'm really trying to get it done for you guys. And it's really, really making me struggle for time and for energy, more importantly. So that's what's been going on really throughout this year. I've been working on this course. And it involves things for you to read, predominantly. There are there's lessons for you to read, lessons for you to listen to. Then there are tests at the end of each chapter, like multiple choice tests. There's a lot of stuff that's going into it, but it's leaving me really low energy. And sadly, I had to stop doing the live streams because I was just running out of energy. Inserter said, everybody hit like. Thank you, Inserter. By the way, let me know what you think of the course. I hope people will find it interesting, the amount of months I've been working on it. William said, no, not what I want, but so bizarre, like you said, especially someone who said they never think of me or ever thought of me again. Makes me laugh, but it gives you a good story to tell your viewers. It does show that no matter what people say, it doesn't necessarily mean that's how they're going to behave. Insert said, was the course inter? No, it doesn't include that. But hopefully it will help people who think that the course could be the way to go, because it will allow you to really concentrate on something. That is one element of it, the concentration you're going to put into it. But actually, it's a good way to ask, really, what would you guys appreciate in a course? There's many, many lessons in it so far. Like I said, some is reading, some is listening, and then there's tests at the end of each chapter. Inda said, Vincent, how many of your exes have come back after no contact? I don't know about no contact before, but 3 out of 4 came back after no contact. The 4th one I stayed friends with, go figure. So off the top of my head, I can think of numerous exes who have got back in contact with me after, a sustained period. Certainly I can think of a couple in which we reconnected. Some wasn't right for me at that stage, but numerous exes have. It really does work. It works in growing intrigue, and that is what you want to be doing. You want to be growing that intrigue. Now, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to go into a new relationship again, because it depends how you take things from that point. Sheena said, "So glad I stumbled across you." Thank you, Sheena. I really, really appreciate that. Anybody who's new here, please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Some people have been telling me they haven't been notified of some of my uploads recently. Mainly that's to do with you have to ring the bell for notifications. Even if you subscribe, you have to ring that bell. At the moment, I'm uploading Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. There was a brand new upload today, for instance, earlier today, in case you haven't seen it. William has said, yes, it's the whole actions speak louder than words scenario. Inserter said, is this the course I was telling you about on one of my live streams? I have to say, Inserter, I was thinking about whether a course would be something anybody would be interested in, and you mentioned it, or you said something like make a course, and I thought, okay, so there might be interest in this. But when you asked me, I was in the very early stages of it, so it's been going on for quite a while, and it's been very draining to make. And I'm probably about halfway through. I mean, I don't really want to say when it will come out because I'll probably get that wrong. But it would be nice to think it could be released by May, but I really don't know. Gareth is here. Hello, Gareth. Hope you're well. Gareth has said, is it right to assume that my ex sending me selfies is a good sign of increasing interest, even if they're weird ones, like in the bathroom with a mud mask or holding a cat? Yeah, I would say that's definitely a positive sign, Gareth. Certainly. Now, you have to consider that when somebody gets to a point of intrigue and they reach out to you, the level of romantic emotional attraction could be at intrigue, it could be at platonic friendship, it could be at lust, or it could be at love. You don't know where it's at and where it can go, but it's certainly at the intrigue level, if nothing else. So Inserter said, I would like to know more info and cost. Great. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for being interested in it, Inserter. I know that you was interested originally. I mean, nothing really is officially decided upon at this point, but at the moment, the course is broken down into different chapters, and within the chapters there's lessons, and the lessons are either things you read or things you listen to, and then at the end of each chapter there's a multiple choice test. You don't have to get all the questions right or anything, but it just shows that you're kind of on track with my thoughts and theories, because of course that's what it's based upon. There's support throughout for breakup anxiety. It's basically trying to tackle everything. Everything you can think of, it's trying to tackle. So if you want to recover from a breakup, there's support. If you want to try to get your ex back, there's support. If you're the dumper, there's support. If you're the dumpee, there's support. If you want to meet somebody new, there's support. It's kind of everything under one roof. But please, anybody who has a suggestion of something they would like to see in a course, please let me know, because this is the time to say it. Gareth has said, for context, she reached out like 15 times now during my no contact. Wow, that is a lot. So at this stage, Gareth, you should be trying to grow things from this communication level to the next stage, because that's really, really positive. Inserter said, will it be to get over a breakup or dating, or how to have a better relationship? It's basically all of those things, Inserter. It basically covers all of those things. It is in depth. I would describe it as in depth. The amount of so it's broken up into 4 chapters, but there's loads of lessons in each chapter. And the chapters are things such as recovering from a breakup, attraction, getting your ex back, understanding breakups, and so forth. Inda said, Gareth, how long were you in no contact for before she started? Oxy is here. Hello, Oxy. Great to have you in here. Mine no contact surpassed 33 days. He didn't contact me. He still follows me on every social media, but doesn't interact. He didn't reach out yet. Should I be worried about that? No, don't be worried at all. With you being worried on 33 days, sadly it seems you've been caught up in some of the nonsense that some of my competitors talk about. I do not believe in the 30-day no contact rule, or the 45-day no contact rule, or the 90-day no contact rule. If you want to understand my theories on no contacts, please check out my playlist called the No Contact Rule, and it's the first video in that playlist, and all the way down obviously as well. But no, don't be worried. That is such early days, incredibly early days. To say that there's some people, there's some inverted commas coaches who talk about 30 days being a pressure point, and if you don't hear from them then it's a disaster. It's incredibly rare to hear from people within 30 days. You're in the minority, not the majority. Sadly, those inverted commas coaches say this type of stuff because they play upon something which is trying to get your anxiety to a height where you basically try to use their services ultimately, because they kind of say along the lines, if you don't hear anything in 30 days, you're going to need this, this and this. That is not the case at all. Do not be scared if you don't hear from your ex in 30 days. Sometimes no contact can go on for years. No, it's not necessarily what you want to hear, but it can still happen. Hi Paul. Paul is here. Paul has said, hi Vincent, do you predict normal life in the UK in June? As I can't even read that word. As suggested, I'll say, by the government. Are you going to pub yourself and get smashed? Great questions. So do I think life will go back to normal in June? I'm quite confident that life will be fairly normal. I think we might have to wear masks still, maybe. Will I go to the pub and get smashed? It would all depend on how life is, because I want to judge it for what it is. I'll have to see. Gareth has said, Indy, well, I've still not broken no contact on my side, but I'm 11 weeks in and I just can't seem to stay away. Kelvin said, hello Kelvin, hi Vincent, not sure if it's just me or does it happen to most people. I find the girls in online dating emotion fluctuate like a roller coaster. They seem to be so interested and then disappeared. It's normally due to the options which are available. If you imagine going into a sweet shop, a candy shop, you've got all of these options. So it is challenging to stay ahead of the game, you might say. That's why you want to be trying to take things further ASAP. So, I mean, it shows how quick things have changed. I used to say within a couple of weeks. Now I would say within 4 or 5 days of good conversation. You really want to be taking things further. India said, damn, good stuff. I'm barely starting to 4 weeks now. It's torture. It is torture. It is really, really, really hard. It is probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to go through, other than, a loved one dying, which is obviously the most tragic thing. This is probably the second most difficult thing you'll ever go through. And Sertra said, you should put understanding women and men. Thank you, that's a good suggestion. I've got something a little bit like that in it, so I'm glad you're thinking along those lines. Etc. said, boss, would you say monkey branching is worse than your ex rebounding? So I judge monkey branching as more of a mindset from somebody. And if they're in the mindset where they're always looking to upgrade, it doesn't matter how long they've been in a relationship, and it doesn't matter how deep in the connection they are, they're always looking for somebody new. So I would say in that respect, monkey branching is worse, because in my belief it's a mindset, it's their persona, and therefore they are always liable to do it. And if that happens, that could happen at any moment. Whereas a rebound is after your relationship has already ended. Gareth said, after the last talk, I suggested when lockdown lifts here, she could meet me in my local seafront, as she's sick of living and working home alone every day. She seemed open to it. I think my odds are good. Brilliant, Gareth. That's exactly the right thing to do. You could possibly suggest a video call. A video call, nobody's really got an excuse why they can't do a video call now. And it is the next best option to meeting. You get to see into each other's eyes, the window to the soul. Interpreter said, boss, is there any point in contacting my wife to try to reach an agreement? I mean, that is something your solicitors might be better off suggesting with you. I don't want to get you in any kind of legal situation, but I would always say compromise is the best way to go if possible. Gareth said also, that course sounds really awesome. I look forward to hearing more info on it. Thank you, Gareth. Yeah, I just thought that it could be something that helps people. Because the benefit of a course is it enables you to get stuck into something, and that is often the problem people have, that they can't concentrate their mind on anything because they don't feel anything is productive. Even if you was to say, meet up with somebody, meet up with your friends or something, it might not be something which you want to do because you just don't feel like you're in the right mood, the right frame of mind. So I would always think that if you could have a course, something to really get your teeth into that you think is going to help, you're more likely to take your mind off it rather than spend time with your friends. I know that it can be very hard to take your mind off things when you don't feel it's productive. So hopefully the course will be. Paula said, X is an X for a reason. Worst thing you can do is hold on to it when you are dumped. Try to explore new things, new people, and open up to new opportunities. And trust me, they'll be back on your mind. Wow, really great advice, Paul. How do you feel about hooking up with a previous ex and your most recent ex finding out? I mean, ultimately, if you're single, it's up to you to live your life. You're always going to have the opportunity to get into a complex situation. So you need to make that judgment call yourself. Geek is here. Hello, Geek. Hi, Geek. How are you? Geek, one of the success stories from this channel. I hope everything's still going good. I hope you're here feeling positive still, Geek. Please let us know an update. Colin. Hello, Colin. Great to have you in here. Hi, Vincent. Just want to say thank you for your talk and advice. It has helped me so much with my breakup. Guys, listen to the wisdom of a boss. Keep up with the great work you're doing. Oh, thank you, Colin. I really, really appreciate that. How are you getting on, by the way, Colin? How are things? I really genuinely appreciate that. Inserter said, hi, Geek. Geek has said hi back to Inserter. Inserter's where Lady Shante is. I did say to Lady Shante in the comment section I'd be hopefully doing a live stream soon, so hopefully she will see that I'm doing one. So please, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. I've had a few people saying to me they're not being notified of my uploads. Apparently that is because you have to ring the bell for notifications. You have to click that bell icon. If you don't click the bell icon, apparently subscribing doesn't really mean a whole lot anymore, which is a bit sad and frustrating. So please make sure you also ring the bell for notifications. Paula said, why is it when you constantly worry about your ex hooking up with someone else, in your opinion? I think it's the fear that it will be it forever. Well, I mean, it's twofold. Firstly, you don't like that thought. Firstly, you don't like the thought of your ex with somebody else because you're very much in love with them still. You don't want to picture them with somebody else. Secondly, there is the fear that the next person they kiss, they're going to marry, which isn't a realistic concern, but it doesn't stop you worrying. So I think it's twofold, really. Gareth said, do you think an ex's attachment style factors a lot into reattracting them, or is it more important to be a much better version of yourself at this stage in the process? Good question. So I think attachment styles hold a lot of weight in regarding why a breakup might take place, but in regards to reattracting them, I don't particularly believe there is any reason why that will affect things hugely. From all the research I've done, that has not shown to be a huge factor in reattracting, rather than making sure the romantic emotional attraction is felt between your ex and you at a higher point. That is by far the most important thing from my research. But I do think attachment styles can affect an active relationship into moving towards a breakup. Inserter said, any plans for the next stream? Just taking one at a time at the minute. Like I said, it's just basically fitting everything in, trying to do the podcast and trying to do the course, as well as the coaching. It's just about trying to make sure I don't burn myself out. So sadly, that's why the live streams have become less frequent. So Geeka said, hi Vincent, I'm really good, thanks. Life has changed so much in a year. From my lowest to new beginnings, things are going well with my new lady, with a few trips and holidays booked post pandemic. Wow, I'm so glad to hear that, Geek. I'm really, really happy. So for those of you who don't know, about a year ago, Geek used to come into my streams feeling incredibly low. I dare say, as low as any of you are right now, Geek was as low, if not lower. I felt like I was always trying to pick Geek up off the floor every stream. And back then, I was streaming at least once a day, sometimes 3 times a day. It was crazy times back then. And I always say my aim is to try to put you in a position, put you on the path to a better, happier future. So I'm not somebody who's particularly bothered if you get your ex back. I want you to be happy. So what that means is you will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better. So I don't mind which option it is. And in Geek's position, Geek found somebody new. So Geek found somebody even better than his ex when he didn't believe it. I remember him specifically suggesting that he didn't believe it was possible he could find anybody better than his ex. And he has now, and he's been with her quite a while. It must be like 6 months now. I'm so happy for you. And Cedra said, I'm going to die if my wife turns up with a new fella at the court. Don't know how I'll keep it together. You know, I still try to keep it nice, Inserter. Try to stay calm. Paul has said, I'm in 8 weeks no contact now. It feels so hard. You know, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. It feels so hard. But you will get through this. You really, really will. Kim may say, hello, Kim. 30 years later, I was sweet 16 and still think about my ex. I wouldn't want him back, but I can't believe he left me for another woman. I think it was a nationality problem. He was 22. I'm sorry to hear that. But it shows that feelings last forever within our lifetime in the respect of people are always part of our story. And Kim's ex will always remember Kim as well. You will always be part of each other's story. William has said, I remember Geek came in around the same time as me. Really, really hard times Geek was going through at that point. I'm so glad that he's happy right now. It's great when we have success stories, but not everybody comes into the streams and says them. You know, I had a success story in one of my coaching calls. Really, really wonderful. When it happens kind of almost like live, so to speak, like literally in between our calls, the magic moment happened, and I was so happy for this guy. It makes what I do worthwhile when you hear those moments, because obviously I hear of a lot of struggle and pain, and it's really, you know, it's really hard to hear all the sadness. So it makes it worthwhile when you hear the positivity. People like Geek, people like this person I was coaching recently, for instance. It's really, really wonderful. Gareth said, I'm all for hearing success story. Happy for you, Geek. Geek said, you really helped me, Vincent. These support chats helped me to process everything, and I wouldn't be so far along without them. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Geek. That really means a lot to me. Kim said, hi. Poco? Is that Is that how I pronounce your name? Poco went a year without talking to my ex after she accused me of cheating. Saw her today and she barely speaks to me. Told me she has no feelings and didn't love me after 10 years. I never cheated. I'm really, really sorry to hear you had this very negative interaction today. It must have been very painful, very challenging, but there is a good chance that your ex was talking out of spite and negative emotions today. Not that that helps from what you're hearing, but just try to let that kind of like just brush off you. Gareth has said no contact is actually an enlightening experience. Personally, I found no contact easygoing. It's the correct thing to do. It's figuring out what's going on with all of the reach outs that confuse me. Certainly, the reach outs can be very, very confusing. That's why no contact is like the first stage, you might say, and then you've got the communication stage that moves after. Kim has said, thank you very much. It's my pleasure, Kim. And Cetra said, boss, do you know much about narcissists and how to deal with them? Could you do a video, please? I did do a video about narcissists about 4 weeks ago. The one thing to say about narcissists is that true narcissists are very, very rare. Clinically diagnosed narcissists account for less than 1% of the population. Yet, if you was to listen to some breakup coaches, they would suggest that nearly everybody's a narcissist. And that's again where I differ from some coaches. I just don't buy into that. I think it's the easy way out. It's the easy way out to say, oh, my ex dumped me, they're a narcissist. Statistically speaking, less than 1% of people are narcissists. Now, don't get me wrong, people can showcase narcissistic traits every so often, but not every dumper is a narcissist. Sometimes we need to look in the mirror and really understand the true full picture. But yeah, in answer to your question, Inserter, I did do a video on narcissists. It was about 3-4 weeks ago. If you scroll down in my video list, you will find it. William has said, yes, awesome. Glad Geek is doing much better. Yes, I echo that. Poco has said, she said I had plenty of time to reach out, but she's the one who ended it. Absolutely. If somebody ends a relationship, then they have made the decision to no longer want to be in our life, and only they can change that. Now, presumably, at the time of a breakup, everybody will say their case. Because you've got to understand that when we speak of no contact, we mean once we know it's done. Okay, so let's imagine a situation. Your partner says to you, that's it, I want to break up with you. Okay, that doesn't mean at that moment you vanish. Okay, you are allowed to say your piece. You are allowed to, whether it's in text or on the phone or face to face, to say, look, I don't want this to end. Why do you feel like this? Can we sort this out? Can I do anything? You are allowed to say those things at the time. That doesn't constitute as begging or pleading per se. That is the natural reaction to somebody telling us the relationship is over. The important thing is that when you know it's over, when you know it's done, then you go into no contact. So once you've basically said, look, I don't want this to end, is there anything I can do? And they say no. And you say, look, I'll do this and I'll do that. And they say no. Once they've said no 2 or 3 times, once they've made it abundantly clear, probably a better way of thinking of it is, once it is the following day, or maybe if this happened at night, 24, 48 hours, once you've had the communication back and forth and they've made it clear it is done, then you go in no contact. You are still, don't go in no contact the second they end it. But if you get a text saying, I don't think this was working anymore, I think we should split up, don't just vanish at that point. You need to say your piece. That's just something probably to say. So Geeka said, thank you, William and Gareth. William has said, sorry to hear about that, Poco. My ex said the same thing about cheating. Insertra said, do dumpers get a moment where they regret dumping you? So a dumper will regret, if we're going to use that word, ending a relationship once the level of romantic emotional attraction is high enough in their mind, we count that as fuel, and when there is an ignition. So you need fuel and you need an ignition. The fuel is romantic emotional attraction. The ignition is one of two things. The ignition can either be a realization of their life not going as they had hoped. So maybe they live a single life, they're just not really enjoying it, they look in the mirror, they start to feel like, oh, my life's a mess. That would count as ignition. Another type of ignition is a trigger. And a trigger is a whole manner of things. It could be they hear a song that reminds them of you. It could be they go to a location that reminds them of you. And so on and so on. That is when an ex will regret. That is when an ex will really get to that stage where they're going to reach out to you. Poco has said, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's really unfortunate. Poco said that to William. Absolutely, very, very sad. The One has said, does relief last a long time for a 2.5-year relationship that was very good up until the end? So when we speak of relief, that's kind of like the honeymoon phase, you might say. That would depend on the relationship, the breakup and the aftermath. So the relationship was good. So we have to then consider the breakup and the aftermath. The breakup and the aftermath is obviously how your relationship ended, how you behaved after it ended, and also what is going on in their life. So, for instance, if they've got into a new relationship, if they've jumped into a rebound, then they're having their mind occupied, and therefore it could be longer. The good thing you've got going for you is a 2.5-year relationship is substantial enough to have a lot of memories, a lot of triggers. So you've got a lot of ignition there. William has said, thanks Poco, that's just her insecurities and irrational behaviour. India said, are the dumpy and dumper timelines flipped? They can be seen as that in some respects, but the reality of what's happening is the dumpy generally begins to become stronger at a similar time to when the dumper might start to realise their life isn't going as they'd hoped, with grass is greener syndrome kind of kicking in, and that is why that can sometimes happen. So everybody who's here, please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I've had a lot of people say to me that they are not being notified of my uploads, and apparently if you don't ring the bell for notifications, then YouTube won't notify you of all of the content I upload. So I upload 3 podcasts a week at the moment, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you don't ring that bell, you might only be notified of, say, 2 or even 1 of them. So please do. Apparently subscribing is not enough anymore. You have to subscribe and ring the bell. So please do that. So Paula said, if you came across your ex on a dating site, does this put to bed you reconnecting with them? And with lockdown, how does that affect online dating in your opinion? I definitely don't think it ends the possibility of you with your ex, because all you're seeing at that moment is that moment. When we speak to anybody, when we live our life, when we do anything, we are expressing ourselves in that moment. So in that moment, you are on a dating site and your ex is on a dating site. That doesn't mean that they want to be on a dating site forever. You see, so it can change and it can alter how they will see you in the future and how you will see them. How does lockdown affect online dating? I would have thought that online dating has increased during lockdown, and I think that's a good thing because it enables communication and it prevents loneliness. So I would imagine that it's busier, and that can be a good thing, especially if you're trying to move through a difficult breakup. You might not be ready to meet anybody, you might not be ready to get with somebody new, but you can still talk to them, and you've got the excuse you're not legally allowed to meet, so you don't have to have the pressure of trying to meet them, or them saying, look, if you don't meet me, I'm going to stop talking, because you can't meet. So I think that's good. Insertra says she has my kids, does that not remind her of me? Absolutely. You know, she will always think of you, Inserta. You always have that connection and that bond. Buana said, I did things wrong for a week, was in denial, begged and pleaded, then I walked away. Thanks, I love your channel. I really, really appreciate your kind words. I'm trying to grow the channel. It's growing. And I'm just trying to build a good community, good positive community. I tell you what's interesting. I always find it fascinating when I get people who stumble across my channel who have been subscribers of other channels, and I'm not going to mention whose channels these are, but I always know when certain people have come from there because they're really in a negative mindset. Like, I teach positivity, moving forward and belief. I promote not being bitter. I promote removing anger and bitterness as soon as you can. I promote being respectful and responsible. And I have a lot of people stumble across my channel and initially they are very bitter and they're very angry. And look, I know what it's like. I've been there. We've all been there. You are going to feel angry. You are going to feel bitter. But they're not emotions you want to hold on to. And what I find really sad is that there seems to be some channels which are growing that anger, that anxiety and that bitterness. And I find that very sad. That instead of trying to kind of help evolve that into something more positive, trying to quash that, they're actually kind of stirring it up and focusing on it. So I try to bring the positivity to the people who find my channel. AP Wiz, your channel and advice is spot on, mate. Respect, 100% respect. Thank you so much, Wiz. You're very, very kind. Sheena said, I'm a lot older, been through this a few times, get on with all my exes, but after 12 years with my latest, thought this one was my best friend forever and I'm so confused. I'm really sorry to hear this, Sheena. And this is where we come to that painful realisation, whereas we have our family relationships, mum, dad, brother, sister, son, daughter, those family relationships have unconditional love. Romantic relationships don't have unconditional love. You can't earn credit. You can't have a fantastic relationship for 30 years and then see it as, that's going to see me through. Because sadly, the credit doesn't count. You don't build up an account. You don't build that up. You have to always put the work in. Now, I'm not saying that Sheena hasn't put the work in. I don't know about Sheena's situation. But what I am saying is that it doesn't matter how long you're together and how long things were going well. If you let things slip, it will happen. The relationship will end. So that's something very important to remember. There is no unconditional love in romantic relationships. Whereas with your mum, dad, sister, brother, son, daughter, you're going to have that unconditional love. Romantic relationships don't have that. You can't earn credit. You can't put in the effort for 6 months, 6 years, 16 years, 60 years, and then start coasting, start procrastinating, start being complacent. You've got to treat your partner after 6 years as you did after 6 months, as you did after 6 weeks. You've got to stay in dating mode. You've got to keep things exciting. You've got to live that life as hard as it is all the time. Because if you don't, you'll be blindsided. The amount of people who say, I didn't see it coming. I did not see this coming. Everything was great. Or people say things like, well, we've been together a long time. And of course, things just evolve into something where, it just gets like that, doesn't it? Well, it does, but you have to stop it. You can't let that happen. Because you will be punished. I see it time and time again. So, if there's one thing to take away, it's the fact that romantic relationships are not based on unconditional love. Inserter said, hit like. Thank you, Inserter. I'm watching a lot of Darius M these days. Not sure who that is, but I hope that's working for you. Lisa said, evening, Vincent. Had to pop in and say hi. Thank you, Lisa. I'm looking forward to dating once restrictions lift after 7 months of self-development, feeling strong. That's really, really great news to hear, Lisa. I'm really happy to hear some positivity. It's really great news. I bet you've made so much progress. 7 months. That's a lot of progress. You're going to have a wonderful summer, and that goes for everybody. And if you're in the if you're in the southern hemisphere, you can have a wonderful winter. Whatever's around your next corner, you can make that special. You've just really got to focus. Catherine is here. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Vincent. Great to have you in here, Catherine. Really appreciate you saying hi. So please, everybody, if you just do one thing today, subscribe and also click that bell notification and click all notifications. Some people have been letting me know that they have not been notified of my uploads, or some of them. I upload at least 3 times a week at the moment. If you don't hit the bell, you won't be notified of every upload. I'm interested to know, incidentally, who's new to the channel? When I say new, let's say this last month or so, is anybody here right now who only found my channel, say, post Valentine's Day? I'm curious to know if we've got any newish people here. Sheena said, thank you, Vincent. Well, thank you, Sheena. I really appreciate you being in here. And Sertra said, super chat. Super chat me. It's really great to be live streaming again. I can't believe I've only done 2 or 3 this whole year. Last year there was a time where I was doing 3 a day. I was hitting all the time zones around the world. I was kind of doing like one, probably 10 a.m. my time, then one maybe 6 p.m. my time, and then one like midnight or even later. I remember starting live streams at 3 a.m. my time just to try to support people. Well, then it would be the Americas and in Australasia. But at the moment, if you've just come into today's live stream, the reason why there's been less live streams is I'm working on a course. I'm really putting my effort in. I've been working on it for months. So that's what I've been doing. It helps you from every angle. There's lessons that you read, there's lessons that you listen to, and at the end of each chapter, there are questions, multiple choice questions, like a quiz to answer. It will help you recover from a breakup. It will help you try and get your ex back. It will help you from a perspective of a dumper. It will help you from a perspective of a dumpee. It will help you try and make a new connection with somebody new. It will help you with online dating. It will help you with texting. It literally helps with everything. And I've been working on it since the start of the year. And it's really draining. But I'm chipping away at it. So please let me know if there's anything you would like to see in such a program, in such a course. Inserter said you didn't read my message about keeping dating your partner. I didn't see it, Inserter. I didn't see it. I don't know whether you might have typed in a word that blocks your message. One of the main ones is WhatsApp. If you type WhatsApp, I won't see your message. It blocks the message. There are others as well. Sorry, Inserter. I don't know why it didn't come up for me. Kimmer said, I think this is important because as a society, have many exes in our lives rather than centuries, decades past when people just had one. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Inserter said, does the course respond with your videos? So there is a connection to them. Obviously, you will know, if you listen to a lot of my videos, you will know my style, but the course is a lot more concise. So say, for instance, on the audio lessons, they're only a few minutes long. It's straight to the point. Of course, there's no self-promotion or anything. It's straight in there to the point at hand. And I've muddled it up between things to listen to and things to read to try to keep it fresh and something that doesn't become too monotonous. And then you get to the end of a chapter, and then you do the multiple choice test at the end of each chapter. I've got high hopes for it. I really hope people will like it. Gareth has said, alright Chief, I've got another question. How do you balance a healthy level of reservation with your ex to show them there is some consequence for breaking up when they're an anxious attachment type? So I would try to flip this in a positive way. So, the consequence of them dumping you is that they might lose you forever because they're in a race. They need to realise that they need to be trying to get back with you, because if they don't, you will find somebody even better. But I don't believe in punishments, or I don't believe in, anything to try to teach them a lesson or a consequence per se. If you get back together, you've got to get back together. You can't hold grudges. You can't live life in a way where you hold this against them, because it won't work. The only way it'll work is if you treat it as a brand new relationship built on stronger foundations. Wizard said, yeah, I found your channel just before Valentine's. I started applying no contact in January, and it's actually started to work. Oh, wow. So happy to hear this, Wiz. Anybody who's on the fence with it, you've heard what Wiz has said here. And Sertra said, it's not natural to separate. I mean, it really plays on all of our pain points and our anxieties. It creates that feeling of fear. When we develop this level of attachment and then it breaks off, it's a fear that we're not going to be able to cope and survive and move forward without that person. It's a combination of feelings similar to grief combined with drug withdrawal. Wizard said, my advice to anyone trying to get an ex back or move on, no contact to spirit anyway, believe in it 100%. Thanks, Wiz. Thank you. Gareth said, no, of course not. I just mean allowing space for the reunion to be their idea, because if they ended it, it has to be their idea, right? So my belief is it does and it doesn't. So for me, if you've been dumped, in most instances, you should never contact your ex again, unless they contact you first. However, when they do contact you, I don't believe that you need to wait for them to ask you out. On the contrary, I believe that after 5 or 6 messages, you should be doing that. That's my own theory on the matter, and I know that it might clash with other people's theory. But by the very virtue of them reaching out to you, that is showing that their interest level is high. And they might be going through some anxiety themselves of thinking you might not be interested. I've got a video somewhere a bit back which explains completely my whole idea of what to do once you've received communication. And the course is going to be even more in depth than that. It's going to have, providing I can do it the way I hope so, it's going to have actual images of text messages that you may receive, and what to put back. I'm trying to hit this course from all angles, and that's why it is taking a lot of time and effort. But if you put time and effort into something, it's more likely to be something which is worth you doing. So that is my plan. Kim has said, and we live so long, relationships end, and marriages last very, very long nowadays, past 50 years. So you always have to be making sure that you are aligned with your partner. One of the reasons romantic emotional attraction can be lost is when people go in different paths, when they show growth in different directions. And as we get older, as we move forward, there is every chance we might grow apart. That is certainly something that can happen. Inserter said, is the course to get you back or to get an ex back? It's both. It's designed for both, because the premise is that to get an ex back, you have to get your ex back. To get an ex back, you have to get yourself back. So the start of it is about recovery, because whether you want your ex back or not, you need to go through recovery. And then there's like a little disclaimer saying basically, work through this. If you want to get your ex back, just work through the course in the designed order. But if you receive contact from your ex whilst you're in the early stages of the course, then skip to the latter chapter to see where you're at. Gav is here. Hello, Gav. Hey, Vincent, please can you listen to me? My ex is in a rebound. I know this because I've seen the signs. We was together romantically. She stalked my socials, so I posted a fake pic of me with a girl, and she blocked me, although we didn't make any contact for 8 months. Okay, so the rebound is a twin exactly like me. Okay, so a rebound relationship is best designed as a relationship that starts very soon after a breakup and doesn't last that long. I would certainly say less than a year, normally less than 6 months. And there are other clues that you can say something is a rebound, but rebounds can evolve into something more substantial. There is always that possibility. So your ex has gone on your social media, seen you with a girl from a fake photo. She's blocked you. Sadly, that is obviously showcasing at this moment she doesn't want to talk to you. But I mean, my suggestion would be listen to the podcast I uploaded today. That is literally what I talk about social media behaviour, and the fact that there is no way of 100% knowing why somebody does something. We can come to conclusions, but we have to just take action with what has been presented to us. And sadly, if you've been blocked, your option at the moment is you've got to respect the blocking. Additionally, she's with somebody else right now. She's currently in a relationship with somebody else. So at this moment, there is no other opportunity, you might say. Inserter said, marriages don't last long these days. It's now near 70% don't last longer than 7 years. Marriages don't last for men anymore, Inserter says. It's people have got more choice. People are less likely to try to work on things, it may seem. Gavin has said, but Vincent, they've been together for a year now. Okay, Gav, so I would suggest that this rebound relationship has now evolved into something a little bit more substantial. It doesn't mean it will last forever, but they certainly know each other now. We have to acknowledge that. Nick has said, do emotionally immature exes tend to reach back out that dumped you? Debating on if I should block. I don't like doing that. But she is a woman child. If here's her parents' opinions at 30, caused by breakup, she'd blame me for everything. The thing about blocking is you should only block somebody if it's affecting your mental health, because blocking somebody prevents, of course, anybody from contacting you. So it's a last resort. But if you're feeling your mental health is suffering, then absolutely you need to consider it. Dami has got me a super chat. Thank you so much, Dami. I really, genuinely appreciate this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. Dami has said, hey Vince, I haven't been able to catch you on the live streams in a while. I haven't done one in a while, Dami, so that's my fault. But thank you. I hope you're doing well. Absolutely, and certainly now after your kindness. Thanks for all you've done for everyone here and others. Love you, mentor. Appreciate it all. Dami, genuinely, from my heart to yours, I really, really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you so much for your kindness. But no, it's been my fault. I've done very few live streams this year. I've been working on a course. It's still going. I'm still plugging away at it. I said earlier that there could be a hope I could release it in May, but perhaps that that is a bit of a guess. It all depends on, of course, how fast I manage to do it. But I'm trying to do it for quality rather than speed. But it's taking a lot out of me, which is why I've not been able to do the live streams, because all my spare energy is going into this course. So if you haven't rang the bell yet, please do. Please subscribe and ring the bell. Notifications aren't what they used to be. If you want to be notified of all my content, which apparently some people haven't been, not all of it anyway, YouTube requires you to ring the bell for notifications as well as subscribing now. Subscribing on its own apparently doesn't do it all anymore. I upload videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the moment. The latest upload was today. If you haven't listened to it, please check it out. It's about social media. Kim has said, Nick, I think women are getting bolder and creative nowadays to make up for lost time. Dami has said, I get it, don't worry. It'll be the best help when you make it. Thanks, Dami. I hope so. I really, really hope it can help many, many people. I really, really hope it can help them through the struggle. Help people get their teeth into something. I know that if I say to you when you're going through the pain, look, concentrate on something else, you feel like you can't, but you don't think it's helping. I have so many people say to me, I want to do something that's going to help. I've got all of this pent-up energy. Well, I'm hoping that the course can be something you can really get your teeth into and be beneficial in that respect. It's really been great coming back. I haven't done a live stream in nearly a month, and I think prior to that it would have been nearly a month as well. I used to do them so often. It feels strange being away for so long. Insertra said, Kim could talk to you about this for hours. William has said, Gav, yes, my ex has two for a year. However, it can't be all sunshine because she constantly sucks my Facebook live. Vincent said, doesn't mean it will last. Absolutely. Dami said, I have to go, but I just wanted to put out my thanks to you. Your videos really have helped me and made me a better person. Your vids have helped me get through so much and love myself, so thank you. Gosh, wow. You're inflating my head here, Dami. Thank you so much. You know, I really appreciate the super chat, and I'm so glad to hear that you are in a better place than you were prior to joining my live streams and my channel community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kim has put low. Lewis said, Vincent, apologies if you've already covered this. I started no contact as a way to win my ex back. Fortunately, I'm at the stage where I'm past that and using it to get myself back. Thanks. Oh, that's wonderful news. Great to hear that, Lewis. Great to hear that you've rediscovered yourself. So important to find yourself. No contact is not just for trying to get your ex back, it's for really healing as well. Insertra said, does family and friends affect reconciliation? I think it possibly can in the short term, but in the long term, not so much. Normally people will follow their instincts and their own heart and their own feelings eventually. So if you feel my content has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. If I have raised your spirits and allowed you to understand that happiness is around your next corner, then please consider buying me a virtual coffee by clicking the link that I've just posted into the chat. Only do so if you believe I've earned it and that you can afford it, but if you do, I would be very much appreciative. If you prefer to use the YouTube super chat option, it's very much the same, just obviously that's built into YouTube. I've kindly had a super chat already today, and if you feel like you would like to do that, then all power to you, and I'd really appreciate it. There's of course no need to, but if you can and if you want to, there's the link for the Buy Me a Coffee website, and of course super chat is inbuilt. Insertra said, what is the difference between acting with your head and your emotions? I would say acting with your head is when you see that bothering somebody who has ended a relationship is less likely to attract them. When we listen to our emotions, we think we have to try to convince and beg and plead an ex to come back. When we're thinking sensibly with our brain, when we can actually think of it clearly, think of it, this person has already made the decision to not spend time with us. They've already made the decision they don't want to be with us. So is annoying them and frustrating them going to win them back? Or is it likely to push them further away? That is the main difference. But it can take a long, long time. Some people take years before they hit this realization. You have to respect your ex's decision. You have to move forward. And if you do the right things, you stand every chance of one day hearing from your ex again. So thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful doing this live stream. I am going to go now. My voice is beginning to leave me. You can hear me coughing. Just get one more in. It's Prior has said, been in no contact for 2 months during lockdown. I go back to college on Monday and I'm going to see my ex for the first time in 3 months. The advice there, Prior, is to make sure that when you see them, you are happy, carefree and fun. Happy, carefree and fun. Stay relaxed, stay chilled. Be the type of person that other people want to spend time with. Don't bother your ex. Don't go out of your way to see them or to be with them. But if you have to see each other, don't run away. Just smile, say hello, and carry on with the rest of your day. Sheena said, I love your voice. Thank you, Sheena. It's going there right now. Insertra said, do they make the decision with their head or their emotions? What, a dumper? A dumper will be doing it with a bit of both, no doubt, depending on the situation. So thank you, everybody, for joining the live stream. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I am going to go now whilst I've got a few moments left of my voice. Thank you, everybody, and good night.